Hello and welcome to the final edition of third-party spells I think are kind of cool. I'm very animated today, it's because I've got my hair cut. If you're looking to change up how your high-level casters can play with the game, and you're like, hey, Wish is good, but what if they had other stuff, then this is basically a good way to see what else is out there. There are not that many third-party 8th and 9th level spells, as it turns out, so I'm smushing the two videos together. I said I probably would last time, and I am a man of my word. So, let's just go ahead and get to it, shall we? Kicking off with level 8, we have no honorary mentions here because there just aren't that many. I've just chosen 5 from each. We have Child of Light and Darkness from the Book of Ebb and Tides. It's an action to cast and it lasts for a minute, no concentration required. Roll a d20 at the end of each of your turns during the duration of the spell. On a roll of 1 to 10, you take the form of a humanoid made of pure searing light. 11 to 20, you take the form of a humanoid made of bone-chilling darkness. In both forms, you have immunity to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks, and a creature that attacks you has disadvantage on the roll. You also gain additional benefits while in either form. In the light form, you shed bright light in 60-foot radius and dim light for an additional 60 feet. You're also immune to fire damage and have resistance to radiant damage, and once per turn you can teleport to a space you can see within the light you shed, which is 120 feet. In darkness form, you gain immunity to cold damage and resistance to necrotic damage, and once per turn as a bonus action you can target up to 3 or large or smaller creatures within 30 feet of you. Each creature must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pulled or pushed up to 20 feet straight towards you or away from you. You get to choose. This is just a really fun spell. I love the vibe here. I don't know that it's really powerful enough to be an 8th level spell, ultimately, but I do like it just as a thing that exists. I would probably buff it so you just have immunity to the damage types from magical sources too, because that's obviously something that has been changed in D&D 24. And this was pre-D&D 24, but yeah. Creeping Death is from the Grim Hollow Player's Guide. It's an action to cast. It all lasts for a minute, but it has concentration. As part of casting the spell, you must expend 8 hit point dice or the spell automatically fails. Roll the expended hit point dice. The target's Creeping Death threshold is equal to the roll's total. For the spell's duration, if the creature's hit points are reduced to or lower than its Creeping Death threshold, the creature immediately dies. As a bonus action, you can force the creature to make a con saving throw, and on a failed save, you roll 2d6 and add the result to the creature's Creeping Death threshold. On a successful save, you only add half the result instead. If the creature succeeds on 3 saving throws, which don't have to be consecutive, the spell ends early. This is a fantastic way to guarantee a creature's doom in a really fun way. You get to just roll a bunch of dice. You get to make the decisions as to whether or not you want to keep trying to make them roll to up their threshold, or if you decide to stop doing that, presumably, once they've hit 2 saves. And then if someone hits them hard enough, they're gone. I just love the design of it. Also from Grim Hollow, we have Flents, which is a word that just sort of makes you go, and it should. It's an action to cast, also lasts for a minute. You target a creature you can see within range. You use Necromantic Force to slice the skin from its body. Make a ranged spell attack against the creature. It's also nice it's a ranged spell attack, right? On a hit, the target takes 8d6 necrotic damage. On each of your subsequent turns until the spell ends, you can take a magic action to force the same target to make a Constitution saving throw, even if the first attack missed. On a failed save, the target takes 86 necrotic damage. On a successful save, it takes half as much. The spell ends if the target is ever outside of the spell's range, if the target is reduced to 0 hit points, or if you can't see it. That's a lot of damage for one spell, if you do it over the course of a few turns, but there's a lot of ways in which it can get out of that, and I think that balances it out quite well. Life Sync is also from Grim Hollow. Grim Hollow put a lot of spells in these spell levels, and not many other third-party people did. So also the Grim Hollow stuff is just really well designed. So shout out to Ghostfire Gaming, you're crushing it. Please give us more stuff on D&D Beyond, please. Life Sync is an action to cast. It's concentration for a minute. An aura extends from you in a 15-foot emanation for the duration. Any creature that enters or begins its turn in the area takes 4d6 necrotic damage. At the start of your turn, you gain 4d6 hit points plus 1 for each creature in the area. That's not 4d6 per thing, it's plus 1 health for each creature in the area. It does damage, it gives you health. What more could you possibly want? Nothing. Nothing. And our final 8th level spell is Undead Enthrallment, which has so many words. Choose a corpse or number of corpses within range. This is an hour to cast, by the way, that are equivalent to the size of the creature you are animating. The GM determines how many corpses are required. Your spell imbues the target with a foul mimicry of life, raising it as an undead creature. You can choose the target to become an undead creature CR3 or lower. The GM has the creature's in-game statistics. On each of your turns, you can use a bonus action to command the creature if it's within 60 feet of you. If you control multiple creatures, you can command any or all of them at the same time, as long as it's the same command. You decide what action the creature will take and where it will move during its next turn, or you can instill a general command, such as guard a particular chamber or corridor. If you issue no command, the creature takes the dodge action. Once given an order, the creature continues to follow it until the task is complete. The creature is under your control for 24 hours, after which it stops obeying any command you've given it. To maintain control, you have to do it again, basically. If you do this for 30 days, you get permanent control of it, which is nice, but you can only control the maximum of 4 creatures with this spell. So basically, you can turn a bunch of creatures into a specific undead creature that you would like to make, which is nice, and you can then give it orders. What I like about this is the way in which the orders work. You could give it the instructions of attack this thing until it has passed out, and it would do that, because that's how the spell works. You don't need to use a bonus action every turn in that case, which is great. There's also no concentration required, and this feels like kind of the uber necromancer spell, which is good, because necromancers need the help a lot of the time. That is the end of the 8th level spell, so let's move on to the 9th level spells. Paradox, which is from Valda's Spire Secrets. I love this. I really like Valda's Spire Secrets. I really hope we get more from it. By twisting the flow of time into knots, you can cause one action of your choice taken within range within the last round to be undone. Reality then reasserts itself, recoiling from the damage caused by removing an event from time. The direct effects of that action, such as damage dealt by it, are undone, but the indirect effects, such as creatures choosing to move to different locations, are not. So you just undo the damage, basically, or status effects. The creature that took the action takes 10d8 psychic damage as it copes with its history being modified. This is an okay amount of damage, but it's mostly that if someone did something that, finished off a creature, you can undo that and bring that person back to life, basically. So there's a lot of flexibility with this spell. And also, I love a time paradox. I just do. We then have Perfection from the Grim Hollow Player's Guide. This is an action to cast, lasts for a minute. You speak a holy word and remake a creature you can see in the image of the Arc Seraphs. The poison condition on that creature ends, which is good to know, and curses are suppressed for the spell's duration, and it is restored to its hit point maximum. The creature's ability scores that are less than 18 become 18, and depending on the specific word you use, you also give the target specific bonuses based on the Seraph you chose. For Aphelon, the target becomes immune to the Charmed condition, and if it fails a saving throw, it can take a reaction to re-roll it. For Imperious, the target becomes immune to Frightened, and deals an extra 4d6 force damage to the first target it hits on its turn. Mick, the target becomes immune to Poison and the Poison condition, and regains 4d6 at the beginning of its turn. Moriel gains 30 temp health, and when an ally within 60 feet of it takes damage, it can take a reaction to take the damage instead, which is nice. Selima, the target becomes immune to thunder damage, and when the target takes damage from a creature it can see, it can take a reaction to deal fire damage to that creature equal to the amount of damage dealt to it, which is amazing. And Zabriel, not Zariel, just so we're clear, the target gains True Sight within a range of 60 feet. At the end of its turn, the target can award Heroic Inspiration to any ally that does not have it. This is a super flavorful spell. It's obviously very Grim Hollow themed with the specific names of the Arc Seraphs, but you can easily reword this as you want for any setting, really. It's also flexible, and I think I value flexibility above basically everything else when it comes to D&D spells and abilities and classes and subclasses and stuff. The ability to do just a bunch of cool stuff really speaks to me. Phoenix Flames is an action to cast, also from Grim Hollows. You immolate yourself. Imagine if that was the entire spell. Consuming your body in a searing cloud of holy flames. You are reduced to 0 hit points and die, and a burning radiance erupts from you in a 30-foot eminence. Each creature in the area must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 30d6 radiant damage and gains 1 level of exhaustion. On a successful save, it only takes half as much damage. If a creature is reduced to 0 hit points like this, it and every non-magical thing it is wearing and carrying are incinerated. The target can only be revived by true resurrection or wish. After 10 minutes, you rise from the ashes where you originally cast the spell, returning to life as if you were targeted by the true resurrection spell. This is cool. It's just cool. I don't know, that's cool. Steel Immortality, we've got another Grim Hollow one. I think the last one is Ebb and Tide, but I could be wrong. This is a reaction to cast, which is fun. As part of casting the spell, you must expend 9 hit point dice, or the spell automatically fails. Roll the hit point dice expended to cast the spell and gain a number of temp health equal to twice the total's roll, which is going to be a lot. Even with your epoxy d6 wizard health, that's still going to be a chunk of health. You gain the creature type of the spell's target in addition to your own. While the spell lasts, you have immunity to the poison condition. You no longer need to eat, drink, or breathe, and you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. You also gain a benefit based on the new creature type. Sorry, you take this reaction when a celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within range is reduced to 0 hit points. I probably should have led with that. I always forget to do that with the reaction spells. If it's a celestial, you get resistance to radiant and necrotic damage, and you get a fly speed of 60 feet. If it's an elemental, you get resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder damage. If it's a fey, you can use a bonus action to become invisible until the start of your next turn, or teleport 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. It doesn't say that invisibility breaks if you attack, by the way, so that's basically greater invisibility for a turn. If it's a fiend, you gain resistance to cold and fire damage and get a fly speed of 60 feet. And if it's an undead, you get immunity to the necrotic damage and immunity to charmed and frightened conditions. You have the creature type until you cast the spell again or are reduced to 0 hit points. You just get to keep this one, which is super cool and really... I think the Fey one is arguably the best one there, but they're all solid. Right, and being able to chop and change that is cool. It's just cool. I like it. Wave of Oblivion is in fact a Cthulhu by Torchlight spell. Not many of these spells have made it onto these lists, but at level 9 everything's broken, so it's fine. This is an action to cast and it is instantaneous. You create a 30-foot cone of Oblivion, which is presumably black sesame ice cream, which is amazing if you've never tried it. I don't know why that. I'm hungry, I guess. Each bloodied creature in the cone makes a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it dies, and everything non-magical it's wearing and carrying are turned to dust. The target can only be revived by a true resurrection or a wish spell. That's it. Nice and simple. Congratulations, you're all dead now. I know, and I'm sure... Hold on. Yeah. There's a bunch of people saying that it's too strong. They're incorrect. It's level 9. Nothing is too strong at level 9. You could write a spell that just says Asmodeus comes up and... fist bump someone in the face and it would still be relatively balanced because level 9 is ridiculous. Level 9 spells are absolutely ridiculous. Have you played level 17 D&D? It's nuts. My monk has plus 18 to his insight and his perception checks. It's nuts. I can roll a 2 and get a dirty 20. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that brings us to an end for this little series. I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it too. I think I'm going to do feats by class next because that seems like a fun way of breaking it down, and it'll also be a good resource for me when I'm making builds because I always forget. Yeah, so I'm going to do third-party feats by class, the best ones to take, I think. Let me know if you've got any other third-party stuff that you would like me to kind of not rank, but like look at. I'm kind of highlighting. I just like showing off cool third-party stuff. It's something I did when I was doing a lot of games journalism. I was always covering indie games as much as possible, and it turns out I'm still kind of in that vibe here, albeit with D&D, which isn't an indie game, but with third-party developers, which kind of are, sort of. So anyway, we're getting close to the end of the year. It's been a cool year for me from a YouTube perspective. I'm probably not going to do a video on that. So that'll be that. That's the end of that for Trailer Thoughts. Please, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful holiday period if you're going to get one, and I will see you next time. Do take care. Goodbye.